So we appreciate you like always, Coach. Thanks for jumping in. We obviously a tough weekend at home against Bama, and you have a tough stretch here in the last couple of weeks. Coach, it is easy to say it's just been, again, a lack of consistency offensively, and just the pitching hasn't been as good as it was there for the stretch where it was excellent. Is it simple just to say that, or has there been more here in the last couple of weeks that have led to the struggles?
Well, look, I think it's very easy to say, look, we've been inconsistent offensively. We haven't been great in the starting pitching department. There have been some positives, but, on the negative side, look, I think one of the things you can point to is we haven't gotten off to great starts on the mound. We've been playing from behind in a majority of the games. Outside of Saturday's game against Alabama where we were up 4-1, and then they tied the game in the fourth and then went ahead in the fifth. We've been behind in a lot of games, so we haven't gotten off to good starts on the mound. And offensively, look, we've been inconsistent. Now, we had 2 games back-to-back there, Saturday and Sunday, where we scored 6 runs in each game. And if you score 6 runs a game, you feel like you have a chance to be competitive in games. So I think it's a combination of everything. But I think the reality started to set in. In the LSU weekend, it was a really tough pill to swallow. I think the guys felt like we need to do something this weekend. We need to do something to make this run. We knew it was going to be a challenge to get to that at-large number of 13 SEC wins. We knew that. And I think when we got through that LSU weekend, it was just such a gut punch to the kids that they lost some confidence. So, quite frankly, it's my responsibility, along with theirs, to just try to keep their spirits up and just get them to understand that we were probably going to have to make a run in the SEC tournament, right? I mean, that was the reality of where we were at. But it's a really hard pill to swallow in the moment. And so, I think that's part of it. It's just trying to keep the guys' spirits up, try to push them to continue to compete as hard as they can. And look, we showed some life. I think one of the things that I was proud of the guys on Sunday is we showed some life. We were down 7-1, came back to cut it to 7-6, had the tie-in run on base and the winning run at the plate, and just couldn't come up with that big hit in the ninth. But, I was proud of the way the guys competed there on Sunday. And we just need more of that. At the end of the day, we've got one more home game. We need to go out and compete as hard as we can, go to Vandy, compete as hard as we can. And then when we get into the SEC tournament, it's a new season. It's the postseason. So we get to wipe the slate clean and look, hey, we got to make a run. We got to try to make a run. And the only way we're going to make a run is if we believe we can make a run. And we got to play good baseball. So, hopefully we can get that, started this week and get the guys in the right frame of mind. And, look, I'm going to do everything I can and push them and be as confident as I can be and positive as I can be and do everything we can as a staff to prepare them. But ultimately they got to go out there and compete as hard as they can with confidence and see what happens.
South Carolina head coach Monte Lee with us here on the Postgame show on the game. Coach, has that been one of the toughest things since you took over, was to continue to get these guys to believe, because they were struggling before you took over, and you've had some moments where you've won some games and things have had some nice. Has the belief been the toughest thing to consistently get them to do as you've taken over?
Yeah. I mean, I think the reality of it is I'm trying to get these kids to believe in their dreams. Let's just be honest. Your dream is to turn this season around. To turn this season around and make it positive, to be different, than the other South Carolina teams that have made it to the postseason, where you just knew, based on the resume at a certain point in the season, that most of the teams that we've had here were going to make it to the postseason. There's been some teams that were right there on the bubble towards the end, but for the most part, you knew South Carolina was going to be in the postseason. And, I tried my best to sell the point that, hey, we get a chance to be a little bit different and have a really unique story. And we showed signs of that, right? I mean, we showed signs of that, with some of the wins that we had. Arkansas on Sunday, Texas on Friday, the Kentucky series, the Missouri series. We showed, that we were capable of competing. But then we had those gut punch weekends, the Mississippi State weekends and, the LSU weekends. And then this past weekend where, it's just been a little bit of a roller coaster ride, emotionally for the guys. So, it's just trying to get them to hold on to that dream and never lose confidence and belief in themselves. And, look, at the end of the day, we're judged based on wins and losses, and I think the guys understand that. I certainly understand that. But ultimately, I just want them to keep going out there and playing hard and competing as hard as they can. That's all I can really ask for them. Whatever happens is what happens, but just give it your best effort, your best shot. And, hopefully we can find a way to do that this week.
Coach Monte Lee was in our last minute, Coach. As you look at Vanderbilt coming up, what's the key for you guys to be able to do some damage in Nashville?
We got to keep the ball in the ballpark. It's a powerful offensive club. I mean, that's what they are. When you look at their team, good Lord, they can swing the bat. They're just a really offensive club. And we've got to find a way to pitch. Like, we've got to pitch better. And we've got to try to hold them at bay. And hopefully, we can carry some of this offensive momentum, that we've had over the last couple games into this week and 4 runs tomorrow night and carry that into the weekend. But the key for us, I know it's simple to say, but we have to pitch. And we've got to play good defense. We just don't have the firepower to go out there and say, hey, we'll spot you 4 runs and we'll beat you 8-7. We're just not that type of team. We have to play with a lead. If we get the lead early in the game and our bullpen's good, we're going to give ourselves a chance to win. So that's going to be the key for us against Vandy. And Vandy's got a powerful offense. So got to keep the ball in the ballpark, play good defense behind our pitching staff, and our pitchers have got to get us deep into the game to give us a chance to play with a lead.
Monte Lee, head coach of South Carolina Gamecocks. We appreciate you all year, Coach. Thanks for your time, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, see you now.